Hello everyone, of which I mean probably zero. This is a new thing that I wish to start doing as a way of helping keep me on track, motivate me, keep things moving forwards by holding myself accountable. Just by doing a morning YouTube stream where I outline a combination of what I'm working on at the moment, ideas that I've had, and what I achieved the previous day. So if I do that every morning as a bit of a recap of the previous day's work and my plans for the day, then it's a way of, it's like a morning meditation is the wrong word, but sort of pause on the day to reflect on what I hope to achieve so that the rest of the day I actually focus on those things, because too often I find myself just being distracted and working on whatever's in front of me rather than the things that I know I need to get done. So by making these videos, I give myself a guideline for the day, and then the next day I have to face up to whether I actually completed that work or not, and thus hold myself accountable. Now in the beginning I fully expect no one to watch these. I am not putting any effort into this at all. As you can see, I'm wearing my work uniform, which is a dressing gown, and at the moment my hair is utterly ridiculous, but that's because I don't want to pay for a hairdresser to shave my head. I'm buying some hair clippers which aren't available where I am right now, so I've got to buy some new ones. And it's wait for them to arrive. So I look like unshaven and everything, but I don't care because no one's going to watch this because this is not interesting for anyone but me at this point in time. This is for me, and hopefully over time, as I get better at it, as I am more productive, as I achieve more in the projects that I'm working on, I will tidy up the whole process. I'll get better at it. I'll be more concise because I'm already rambling about shit that no one cares about. And then as people watch, then the accountability for, hey, I said I was going to do that and I haven't done it by the next day, will have even more pressure on me and help keep me on track for what matters. So I see this as only a good thing to do. Yes, it's a little bit extra work, but that's why I am most intent on streaming this straight to YouTube every morning, maybe doing a half-hour limit or something like that, just to quickly go through everything. I'm being very flexible with that. I'll talk about whatever I want to talk about, however long I want to talk about it. At the moment, I am recording and I'll upload it because the internet here at the moment sucks. The streaming isn't working at all. It's really low quality, and it kept stopping. So I'm just going to record it and upload it until the internet gets fixed, whatever that consists of. So that's why the screen you can see at the moment is the live stream that I was just testing and experimenting with that just didn't work at all. Very blurry. So this is one thing that I'm working on, figuring out how to make this software work, how to stream to YouTube, and how to start this process of doing this daily live stream to communicate with the world. But other things that I'm working on, my primary objective right now is to complete an application to the Rita Foundation Misinformation Solutions Forum. This is a really cool idea project that they've got going. They're going to do a conference forum where they want to present 5 ideas, call for ideas. They want to find, I think it's 5 ideas attempting to solve the problem of misinformation, trying to stop people from sharing misinformation as their focus. The 5 that they select, I think, they'll be paid for flights to DC to participate in the forum. I think you win $25,000. Participating teams will be selected to receive misinformation solution prizes with a top prize of $50,000 and an additional prize of $25,000. Okay, so 25 isn't for everyone. Yeah, it's just a 50. I guess it's first and runner-up or something. So the money's cool, but I think the real opportunity of this is participating in that forum and being able to get the Socratic web, which is my main priority at the moment, is getting this set up and created, which is a follow-on from Rebutta. Rebutta being a startup I started back in 2012 to find rebuttals to any page that you're looking at. And it works like this. That pops up and says, hey, there's a rebuttal to this page. Click on it, boom, opens up a page that is critical of the page you were just on. This page is rebutted by this page. And there's a rebuttal to this that I've written that's not showing up, but that's okay. I stopped working on that like 3 years ago because it has no funding model behind it, and I had to make money, so I was forced to stop working on it. But then when the fake news thing took off, I was pulled back to it because it is a solution. It is a very real and meaningful solution to the problem, but I needed to rethink about how it's done. And a browser extension is not the solution because most people don't care. Most people don't install browser extensions, and it will never reach the significance that it needs to. The Socratic Web is a reimagining of Rita that is focused on taking the concept behind Rita and implementing it into the web in a way that everyone already uses it. And that basically consists of getting Facebook and Google and Twitter to integrate the data into their own user interfaces. So there you go, there's a quick background. So I'm applying for this to try and get that idea, what is the Socratic Web, in front of that forum. I've been working on that yesterday. I learned many years ago, here's a good tip for you. When you have like a long web form to fill out and shit happens, browsers crash. This one crashes all the time. I think there's a bug with the RAM or something that it keeps crashing tabs. It's so frustrating when you put days worth of work into writing up answers in these forms and the page crashes and you lose it all. So I do all of my work now, copy paste into a Google document which auto saves as you go, and then I just write out everything here, and yeah, then take as long as I want to edit it without any fear of losing the work that I've done. So anyway, so yesterday I started working on answering these questions. Got a first draft done of most of them. I just need to tidy up the language and everything. So I'm excited to apply for this. I'm excited about what they're doing, and I dare not be hopeful that I might be selected because I've done that before, and it is devastating when these things look like they're written for exactly what you're doing. They're like they describe what I'm doing to a T, and I go, look, I'm doing exactly what you want, and it's perfect, and it's going to work, and I've got everything that I need, and I've got the roadmap, and I know everything to make it work. And then they just go, sorry, you weren't selected, and you get nothing, and you're no one, and it's like, don't you realize I have the answer? So I can't get my hopes up anymore, but I got to keep trying. So that's my number one priority today. As I'm writing these applications, I always sort of trying to wrestle with how to express things and how to improve it. So I've started putting together this document summarizing the key dot points that I have to remember when I'm communicating things about the Socratic Web. In no particular flow here, just dot point ideas that I have to encapsulate in my communications. This is what started me. What made me start keeping this document yesterday was I realized that I don't communicate this idea enough. It's sort of a new idea in communicating the Socratic Web. So many people are trying to make solutions to misinformation would work around, if we show them a correction, that will change their minds. Oh, but research shows that showing corrections doesn't change people's minds, it just reinforces them, which is, has basis in it, but also has counter evidence. But what I never hear people talking about is that when someone has a core belief, like a political or a religious belief, something that really matters to them, they can change their minds out of those positions. I've done it. I have so many friends that were ex-Christians that aren't Christians anymore. Like, these are core beliefs. Not one of them ever changed their mind from a single argument. Every single major mind change that I've seen done has happened over the course of years. Lots of little things that add up. Each little argument creating a bit of doubt or creating a bit of something. It introduces a bit more evidence, a different angle, a different way of thinking about it, some new context that they've lacked in the past. One of those things has changed their minds, but you put it all together over the course of time and allow them to slowly come to terms with it. Maybe they change their environment, whatever it is, minds get changed over long periods of time. And so everyone that's trying to fix, the misinformation problem by changing the minds of the people, if someone believes that the Earth is flat, they share misinformation about the Earth being flat. So you don't solve the misinformation problem by stamping out all the information that the Earth is flat. You've got to actually change the minds of people that believe the misinformation. And to do that, you've got to recognize that changing minds is a long-term process. So this is a new thing that I'm trying to communicate in it. Anyway, that's that. This has been interesting lately. Elon Musk tweeting about. Is this going to the original? Yeah. Going to create a website where we can rate the core truth of any article and track the credibility score over time. Frustrating because Elon Musk has just said, I'm going to do this thing that's going to fix the problem, as if he's the first person to think of that solution to that problem, when they're, as far as I'm concerned, that is literally all anyone's ever done to try and solve this problem. Rate what's true and what's not true. Try and get to the truth and publish it. Hey, if only people knew that this was the truth, why don't we try publishing that on the internet? That's what everyone does. If only we knew who to trust, why don't we tell everyone who to trust? That's what everyone claims to do. I'm trustworthy. Trust me. There you go. I've solved the problem. Like, it's ridiculous. If it was so easy to just tell people what to trust and what is true, then it would have worked by now. It doesn't work. You can't find your phone. It's downstairs. This is Leonardo. This is my almost 4-year-old son. Look, making a video.
What is it?
No, it's just for me. Anyway, your phone's downstairs, bro. Can you find it down there, please? And close the door on your way out, please. Thank you. So that's another thing that takes up quite a bit of my time, is also taking care of him in between doing things, because my wife Vanessa has chronic fatigue syndrome to a moderate level, which sounds like it's okay, but it's basically housebound and has very limited energy reserves to do things. Luckily, we're living at her mum's at the moment for a few months while we're staying in England, so we have some help. But I still need to, take up quite a bit of the parenting stuff as well. So that's one of the time sinks that I have. And this is one of the reasons I did want to start making these videos, is to show what I do with my time, because I always feel like I don't make nearly enough progress on the projects that I'm working on. I feel guilty for it, like I'm lazy, and that there may be some truth to that, because I occasionally go, I don't feel like doing anything, and that's, I know in the Silicon Valley sort of mindset, it's like go, and like if you're not doing everything all the time and you're not pushing yourself, then you will fail because the other person will be. But I kind of like being mentally sane. I don't want to be so broken that I have no pleasure or relaxation or capacity to enjoy my life, because I'm so driven by things that I can't do anything but work. That's not who I am, but I'm still determined. I'm still persistence, I think, is just as key, if not more key, than aggressive type A personality that squeezes everything out of everything. Side ramble. In time, this is the first video, so there's so much stuff that I haven't covered in anything, because I haven't done any videos. So I think I'll slowly get all this stuff out of my system, and then the videos will become more constrained to topic relevant. But at the moment, I'm giving the broad picture. The broad picture is I'm trying to do video streams daily. I am working on applying for grants and competitions for Socratic web stuff. And I participate in so this stuff with Elon Musk. Try and follow this stuff on social media and interact with it. I'm also part of this fake news science group. I don't know if I should have my email thing open and people can see all the stuff on it. Actually, let's see it now. You can screenshot it, can you? There's nothing feeling there. Anyway, no. So yeah, this fake news science group is a great little mailing list of people interested in this, academics, journalists, people. And so there's been a good discussion about this on there, and I've expressed some of my opinions about the fact that I believe that any attempt to solve the misinformation problem by adjudicating it, by deciding this is true, this is not true, this person's trustworthy, this person's not trustworthy, is guaranteed to fail, simply can't work. Like, there's value in it, don't get me wrong. There's value in deciding true and false. This is what scientific bodies have done forever. This is what journalists have to do. This is what credibility agencies have to do, but they are services that people buy into. Now, the misinformation problem is a problem with the internet. It's a problem with the global store of information, and it's a problem with the global population accessing that information. So if you're trying to solve that problem, then you need a solution that speaks to everyone on all topics. And so the second that universal solution adjudicates on something, you will necessarily ostracize the subset of the population that disagrees with that conclusion. And when you come out and say, no, climate change is definitely happening and it's caused by humans, you don't then get all the people that are climate change skeptics to go, oh, we were wrong because this body has told us the truth. No, you get all the climate change skeptics saying, oh, that body's untrustworthy, it's full of shit, I will ignore every other pronouncement that it makes from now on. That's the reality, and we've seen this time and time again. Too many times to even be worth going into. It's frustrating that I feel like no one seems to be aware of this fact. So those services are valuable to the people that already agree with the conclusions or the objectives or whatever. And generally, scientifically minded people, skeptics, journalists, like journalists with integrity, investigators, people that are genuinely obsessed with getting to the truth, they will tend to get a lot out of those services, assuming the service has a rigorous basis beneath it, it's actually genuinely trying to get to the truth. But the vast majority of people are not scientists and journalists and genuinely trying to get to the truth. The vast majority of people are just going about their lives believing things. And so this problem, the misinformation problem, is not by and large a problem with scientific fraud and journalistic failings of integrity, though there are real problems with both of those things, of course, but is a problem with the population at large being free to read whatever they want online and pick and choose what they believe and go around all of the safeguards we've had in place historically around access to information. In the past, it was always constrained by what's on the television, what's in the newspaper. There are editors in place to stop people from accessing nonsense. Not to stop them, but it just wasn't available. They couldn't access it because it wasn't there. They didn't encounter it. The internet's changed that. Anyone can access anything. Anyone can write anything. And so now, it doesn't matter how perfectly you put together the perfect explanation for why this is true or who's credible. If you tread on someone's toes and you challenge their belief up front, and if you do it in a way, it's like, look, we're the experts and we've done the research and this is the answer, just trust us. It doesn't change anyone's mind. It's not going to have any impact at all. It's just going to create further division of those that trust the tool and those that don't trust the tool. And again, we see it with Wikipedia, we see it with the Royal Society, and all the scientific bodies declaring evolution is real and climate change is happening. People will just ignore them because they disagree with the conclusions. Anyway, this is why the solution is the Socratic web, but I won't go into that because I could talk for days. So yeah, this is the solution. It is literally, if the details of how I envision the Socratic web aren't exactly the solution, the general approach is the only solution. You have to scaffold the presentation of information online in a way that nudges and hints and provides easy access and accessibility to skepticism and critical thinking and the tools, that the metacognition around interpreting information. You need to make it so that the public, I just realized I'm going into it. I said I wouldn't go into it because I could talk about it for days. So I'll stop. But got to make it easy for people to figure it out for themselves. That's it. You can't tell them the answer. There's no other solution. You have to help people help themselves. And you have to do it for everyone, so it has to be a technological solution. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. I am going to MisinfoCon. I'm going to tab up for that. But MisinfoCon, I did shift tab, control tab. MisinfoCon is happening on the 29th and 30th in Kiev. So I have booked tickets for that. I will be going there for 2 days. Looking forward to participating in that, seeing what it's like. I was a bit unsure about going because I don't have an income. I don't have a job. I got lucky with cryptos over the past few years, which has given me a bit of capital to work with. So we have, basically savings that we can spend on stuff. But of course, every time you spend savings, you have less of it. And when you don't have an income replacing it, you run out. So I have to be very, very cautious with that. And having just spent shitloads of money coming to the International Festival of Journalism in Perugia, Italy for April, then when we did some traveling around that, because we did have some luck with crypto, so we had some money to spend, I'm like, you know what, let's have some fun. So we traveled a bit and came to England. We were staying with my wife, Vanessa's mum, which is great. Love how much she supports and helps us, and my mum as well back at home, but blah, 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 blah. And then I had to spend money because I went to RightsCon in Toronto, so there's more flights and accommodation and back. And then this is this third conference, and it's again flights to Kiev. Kiev's a bit of a pain to get to, accommodation there, and another 4 days away. And as I said earlier, Vanessa's sick, I have a son, so just a lot to consider in paying for and traveling to all these conferences. But we talked about it and decided it was probably worth it. But most importantly, I'm on the cusp of really pushing forward the Socratic Web and then actually getting to the launch stage, because I've been talking about it for so long. Started Rebuttal 2012. The last 2 or 3 years have been sort of off Rebuttal, but since April last year, I've been sort of pulled back into it by a conference I went to in Montreal, the Web and Social Media conference, where they had a full day workshop on misinformation. And attending that has really pulled me back into the Rebuttal concept, and thus led to the Socratic Web version of it. And so since then, I've been talking about it all the time and writing about it and kicking up a stink about how no one's doing the one thing that's going to work. And since it seems clear that still no one else is going to do it, it seems like it's up to me to make it happen. So if I'm going to commit to it and make it happen, despite years of knockbacks and inability to raise money and just generally being ignored by the community and by society at large, then yeah, if I'm going to commit to doing it, then I'm just going to have to commit to it full steam. I can't half-ass it from here. So I'm on the cusp of launching it, crowdfunding, and branding, registering the organization, and then aggressively seeking funding from philanthropic organizations. And so going to conferences like this and the two that I've just been to are an incredibly important part of that, because that allows me to meet the people in the space, get to know them, allow them to get to know me, communicate my ideas more clearly with them, because person to person is just always infinitely better. The back and forth, the ability to clarify. So going to these conferences, is a way to get to know the people, but also to meet, to get to know people better, and either meet the people that are at the foundations that have the funding to support the ideas that fight misinformation, which is the first crucial step in this. Is I figure I need about $220,000 to redevelop the database from Rebuttal into the Socratic Web to meet the new needs. To hire a full-time developer or two to do that work, as well as maintaining the organization and the administrative. $220,000 is nothing in this space, but getting that first step done, getting the first bit of money, the first bit of recognition, the first bit of trust to get that going is crucial. So the second I get that ball rolling, I'm full steam ahead, no stop. And since I'm about to do that, I can't not go to MisinfoCon, like the conference about the thing that I'm working on. So 4 days, a few £100. It's a cost that we decided we could bear. The funny thing about going there is I'm flying out at 11 p.m. Monday night to get there at 4 or 5 a.m. It's only a 3-hour flight, so I'm flying just overnight, just short enough that it's not long enough to get any sleep, and you're disturbed enough at both ends of the flight so that I will end up getting maybe 2 hours sleep that night. I arrive at 5 a.m. I'll get out of the airport at 6. I'm going straight to the conference, and I'll stay up all day at the conference. It's 2 days, and then I fly back the day after the conference. So it's going to be pretty intense. But, make it work. So that's all that. Now, meanwhile, because I have no income and because I got lucky with crypto and I have some capital, I have been, at the end of last year, and this is one of the reasons why I got so little done over the past 6 months or so on the Socratic web, is because I kind of accidentally fell into margin trading of cryptos. And it's a bad idea. I do not recommend anyone do it, but I accidentally lost a heap of money, and then accidentally lost more, and then tried to dig myself out of that hole. Well, I lost money like 3 times, but then started making money back and thought I'd cracked the thing and made more money, and I was like, yay, this is awesome, and the market recovered a bunch and things were going back up, and then they started going down again, and so they've been going down a lot, so I'm like trapped into this negative position on margin trading, and because of that I finally sort of relented. I'm like, it seems like my brain is obsessed with trading anyway. This is one of the things I know about myself already, is that I get obsessed with things, and often fighting those obsessions is just a losing battle. I'm better off going with it. So since October, basically, I've just kind of been obsessed with trading cryptos effectively. But it is you could fairly probably describe it as a typical gambler's addiction, I guess. Like, I want to make money from this asset that I have. I want to be able to make it generate an income for me. I want it to be worth more than it was yesterday, not less. And when it goes down, it's frustrating. It's like, but I had more money yesterday. So there is this internal desire to win. And so the natural compulsion that I feel is itself not beneficial or healthy. It's just like, I want to stare at it and I want to know what's happening next and I want to win. But I can turn that compulsion into something practical. So since for the past couple of months, I have been spending a lot more time watching videos and learning day trading techniques and strategies. So for example, this morning I started watching this series, How to Think Like a Professional Trader. Someone linked it through the TradingView chat, and it seems like it could be a quality series to watch. I have otherwise been watching a lot of Tone Vays, because of everyone that I've watched, I think I respect his approach the most. He seems genuinely data-driven and experienced enough. I disagree with quite a few of his opinions, and I disagree with his overall assessment, but I have no problem with that because I still think he's giving a genuine assessment. And by being able to follow his... what happened? Chrome just suddenly died. Hey, that's the Slate Quarry in Wales. I went rock climbing there. It's a fantastic place. Yes, Chrome shut down. See what I was saying earlier about filling in forms and things just crashing suddenly? Never, ever, ever fill in forms that are that long on the site. Not worth it at all. To have lost all of this information that I've typed up all of yesterday would just be devastating. So anyway, so watching Tone Vays and learning some of his trading techniques, and multiple others for the Corona bit, and I haven't got Trade Devils there. I watched some of these Trade Devils, but I honestly went into all this stuff, technical analysis, very much from a mindset of it's all bullshit, and I'm still watching it and learning about it, and still thinking it's largely all bullshit. I watch people, and like, no disrespect to Trade Devil, but I watch their videos and I spend all my time going, oh wow, there's lines everywhere. So I know there's a rationale behind those particular lines that are more important, but it's just it's so funny watching how you can like generate fib lines from so many different swings and so many different things, and they're trying to get corroboration. So like, they all line up and they all say this one thing, but I don't know, when you look at all the ways you can draw fib lines and all the way you can draw support and resistance lines and all the way you can draw different triangles and things, it's like anyone can make it say anything they want. So I'm still generally quite skeptical about people's ability to technically analyze the market and know what's going to happen next, but still it's allowed me to learn certain lessons along the way which I think have more value than the technical analysis themselves. Two of the key ones that I've learned are that it's all about money management, which is you're going to make losing trades, but just make sure your losses are smaller than your winnings. So when a trade, so for example, in this current sort of consolidation thing here, so it's dropped, the market's dropped down a bunch, and then it's hit this point and it's just sort of flatlined, and it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, great, okay, then at the top of this I've started shorting some of the coins, so selling them at the high point, because I think, one, so this is the other rule, so there's two, the trend is your friend. It's going down. It's generally safe to assume it will keep going down. So I'm like, okay, it's probably going to keep going down. It may not. I don't know. It's probably going to keep going down. So I started shorting at the top of this consolidation thing. And now, in the money management thing, if it goes down, if it breaks down like I think it's going to, then I can just let that ride. It could go down quite a long way and I can make quite a lot of money. If, however, it goes up, then I was wrong, and I have a stop loss placed at the top of this sort of area that will buy back the things that I sold at a small loss, and then I'll wait and see, wait for the next opportunity to make a similar sort of trade. So there's two key rules there that aren't, I don't think of them as technical analysis because they're not telling me what's going to happen next, although the trend is your friend kind of does. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but for the past week or so it's just been going down, so it's probably safe to assume it's going to keep going down. That's what the market's doing. But if I'm wrong, that's cool. Let's say it's 50-50. 50-50 is pretty good odds. But if it goes up and I only make a loss of 10% versus the 100% I could make if it went down, then that's the combination of getting guidance on the choices you make, which may be 50-50. I'm going to pick one or the other. It's like, maybe it's 40-60. So let's go with a 60% chance. And then money management so that the wins are significantly larger than losses, so you can get enough. Just one win, you can have 10 losses, and you break even. So, blah. Point is that I became obsessed with watching price movements and stuff, and I tried to put it away a few times, but I was in negative positions anyway. Like as I said, I sort of accidentally got into it, which is another story. Because I'm like locked into this negative balance, I really want to fix that. So I kind of got obsessed with learning this stuff so that I can fix it. And the last month or so has been pretty good. I'm getting out of the negative that I'm in and locking in some positive trades that are increasing the balance, and successfully hedging my position because I own a lot of crypto. If the market goes up, I make money. So by shorting the falling market, I can make money while my overall net is going down. And I think that's was an important realization to make, is that I can hedge my position quite successfully. So that takes quite a lot of my time, and basically, and to explain all that, I've just sort of given a quick, that's my belief of what's going to happen next, something like this, down to this long-time support line. So if anyone that cares about crypto, this is the price of Bitcoin over the past almost year. It's gone up a lot, hit almost $20,000. It had a massive crash. It's done this, and now, if we're lucky, it hits this purple line and then goes up. If we're unlucky, it goes below the purple line and maybe even lower. I'm hoping it hits this and goes up. Yeah, I think that's my preferred. Yeah, that's definitely what I want to happen. But we could be, if we're unlucky, we're going into a repeat of what we saw in 2014, which if we're super unlucky, Tonebase is exactly right, and we are currently sitting sort of here-ish, and we're about to go down and then down and down and drop another 50 or 75% from the current price, and that will hurt quite a lot and take away nearly all of my net worth and make life generally harder for us because, as I said earlier, we have no income, and most of my assets are in cryptos, not because I invested in it when everyone got excited about it and bought at the top, but because I put a small, safe amount of my savings into crypto a couple of years ago, and then when that went up as much as it did, that small, safe amount ended up being more than my otherwise net worth was. So that's the best way to make all of your net worth from one asset, is put a small amount of your net worth into it and have it grow so much that it takes over everything else. Highly recommend that. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, we don't have that much of it. Can't afford to retire yet. It's just a bit of savings that gives us a bit of breathing room to do things like go to conferences and travel rather than need to get a full-time job for now. And hopefully we can keep that up for a while. And hopefully if I get really good at this trading stuff, I can generate enough of an income from this that I can do this indefinitely. However, that said, my objective right now is to actually raise funding for the Socratic Web, and enough funding that I can pay myself from that so that I can commit full-time to working on that. And then I can put all the trading behind me. I can just put a safe amount into cryptos in general and hold and forget about them, because I happen to firmly believe that Bitcoin's going up to $200,000 plus. Quite confidently believe that, and it will just take another couple of years. So that's my belief. I have my reasons for it and happily defend them to anyone that wants to listen, but not now. This is a useful tool that I use all the time. It's the order books across multiple different exchanges. You can sort of see there's 21,000 that bit there. 21,000 Bitcoins being bought down at this price, between the current price and this price. 21,000 Bitcoins want to be bought, and the same distance up, there's 29,000 Bitcoins being sold. It's a vague indicator to me that there's more pressure going down. Like, it's harder to move the price up than it is to move the price down. And you can see this in the steepness and that big cliff right there, that to get the price above 7,580, you've got to buy a lot of Bitcoin to move it up past that. So the market has to be really determined to push it up to move it up. But if enough people go, oh, I'm not sure what's happening, and they start selling, it'll move down quite quickly, and that will create a momentum. So this is just one of the indicators that I use. It's not guaranteed or reliable, because those buy and sell orders can be just deleted. The person selling 3,000 Bitcoins, well, there's one person, but if there was, could sell 3,000 Bitcoins sitting in the account, and then the second the price moves up, they go, oh, I changed my mind, and delete it. So none of this is set in stone.
You can find yourself in a spectacularly winning.
There's that. And that's it. That's everything that I'm thinking of right now. Got everything. Oh, that's right. There's one more thing on the. I have this idea that I'm thinking of. I should post to Steam it. Tone analyzes Bitcoin's price. And he's a Bitcoin maximalist and believes all altcoins are scams. I see his arguments. I understand it, and there's I agree with it to an extent. But I'm not I'm not absolutely Bitcoin maximalist, and I do believe a lot of altcoins have a lot of potential and value. But on a trading analysis, and I think Tone might be interested in this, so I'll put this out together. I might even tweet it at him. Whether you think altcoins are shitcoins or not, the fact is they are all tied to Bitcoin's price, and it's for that reason that when Bitcoin goes down, altcoins tend to follow and often go more extreme, because sort of panic in the market to say, it's a very fluid market because people aren't sure what these things are worth. But equally, they get moved down because Bitcoin goes down, and it's to do with like arbitrage bots. If Bitcoin price goes down, then the altcoin is worth something against the dollar and something against Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's price gone down, therefore the relative value of the thing versus Bitcoin is different, so they can arbitrage between the Bitcoin value and the dollar value of that altcoin, thus bringing the price of the altcoin down. And it's an arbitrage thing that causes everything to follow the Bitcoin price. But for that same reason, that also exerts a resistant force on Bitcoin itself. So, because the arbitrage works both ways, and I could explain that, but this video is not the place to do it. So the realization is that understanding why alts follow the price of Bitcoin, there is reason to expect that if an altcoin reaches a price where the majority of people in that market think that there's no way it's going below that, like literally, not like the hopeful holders, like please don't go lower than that, but I mean like literally everyone's like, holy shit, that coin's really cheap for what it does, it's an amazing coin. and I'm just going to put $10 million into buying that coin at that price because that's insane that it's that low. Every time an altcoin reaches that point, then as Bitcoin goes down, it pulls the Bitcoin price of that altcoin down while the dollar price is held steady. So the arbitrage will pull the Bitcoin price back up, and then the arbitrage between that altcoin and Bitcoin will pull Bitcoin itself back up, fractionally, always fractional. And because there's like 1,000 altcoins out there, this is all fractional stuff. But what I'm saying is, as this market keeps crashing and all the altcoins get driven down faster, we're seeing that on the small recoveries, the altcoins also recover more. And so I think what's happening is all these altcoins are like being driven down and recovering faster, and they are equilibrating at their real price. Real price is an absurd concept, but at the price that the market feels most comfortable at the moment. And so now, as Bitcoin has the potential to go down another 75% from its price, this is Tone's analysis. He thinks it could go down a long way because the market, looking at Bitcoin alone, looks really, really weak. But I think he's completely ignoring the effect of altcoins on Bitcoin. He's ignoring this thing because it's kind of convoluted, and maybe it's wishful thinking on my behalf, but if the altcoins are hitting their sort of floor, the price at which people are willing to happily throw lots of money at them to buy them out because they think that's really cheap, then there is a chance that the altcoins could end up propping up Bitcoin's price. Because every time Bitcoins get down to this sort of $6,500 level, it hit 6,000, bounced up, hit 6.5, and scraped along this bottom for a while. And this is what sort of gave me the idea, is that this resistance here, it's like it didn't come from anything here. It kind of felt forced, and now we're getting a similar resistance here, though I still expect it to go down this, and then hopefully we'll see a similar thing to this again. And if that happens, if we look at XMR is one of the things that gave me this idea. When Bitcoin was 6,500, it did the same thing. It had this sort of bottom where it just sort of grinded, I think of the word, grinded along this bottom here, and then went up, and Bitcoin went up. But since then it crashed down just as fast, and it's already at this bottom. Now, there's every chance that it's just going to keep going down lower. But if it did this because enough people go, you know what, I can't believe Monero is $160, I'm going to buy it, and they do that again here, then if Bitcoin goes down another 20 or 30%, but Monero stays the same, then Monero is going to be exerting a supportive pressure on Bitcoin. Now, a lot of other altcoins haven't dropped us back down to that same price low, so they're all going to get there at different times. But if we do find that this is like the expected low of these altcoins, and so there's the point on Neo, Ethereum did that, it's a lot higher. But as more and more of them get back down to this low, and again, assuming that that's the low, which there's no real basis to do, but maybe it is, then they will incrementally start adding to the resistance to Bitcoin's drop and may prop it back up. Just a thought, and I need to put that into an article. So just another job to do. Okay, that's long enough. This has probably been like an hour or something. How long has it been? 43 minutes. Not bad for just rambling to myself. Tune in tomorrow where you find out what I did and didn't do and what's changed and whether my predictions are right or wrong on the cryptos. That's all for now. Thanks for not watching. Bye.